Tool tethering is a safety practice designed to prevent tools from falling or being dropped, especially when working at heights. It involves attaching tools to either the worker using them or to a structure. This practice is crucial for preventing injuries and fatalities caused by falling objects. For Vestas, safety is always a primary concern and first priority. There is nothing more important than making sure every person returns home safely. You have a responsibility for your own safety as well as the safety of your colleagues. Vestas is deeply committed to the health and safety of every colleague and contractor. That's why 8 life-saving rules have been put together. The rules are a must for everyone working at a Vestas site, and whether you're an employee, contractor or subcontractor, you must know the rules and comply with them. By following our life-saving rules, practicing smart behaviour and making safe choices, we're not just reducing incidents, we're building a safer workplace for everyone to go home safely. The working at height rule is all about keeping you and your colleagues safe when there is a risk of something being dropped or falling down. It applies to any work done at height in any part of Vestas. The life-saving rule of working at heights includes the following safety controls. I inspect my full protection equipment before use, I secure tools and work materials to prevent dropped objects, and I connect myself to an approved anchor point while outside a protected area. The line of fire rule is all about staying clear of danger. This means being aware of areas where you or others could get hurt by moving objects, falling items, or released parts like machine components or tools. It's all about knowing where the risks are and staying clear of them. The life-saving rule of line of fire includes the following safety controls. I position myself to avoid moving objects, vehicles, pressure releases, and dropped objects. Furthermore, I establish and obey barriers and exclusion zones, and I take action to secure loose objects and report potential dropped objects. And remember, every person, regardless of role, has the authority to stop any activity that can't be undertaken safely, and to then actively participate in developing a safe way to complete the work, starting by ensuring an observation is reported in Vestas' incident management reporting system. We don't want anyone to get hurt while working for Vestas, and we all play a part in practicing the right behaviour by taking responsibility and taking action on our own and our colleagues' safety. So, let's make safety a habit. Tool tethering is essential for safety at site because it directly prevents tools from falling, unlike secondary measures like netting or hard hats, which only mitigate the damage after an object is dropped. This proactive use of tool tethering significantly reduces the risk of injuries, fatalities, and damage to equipment and property. The tool tethering system consists of 3 main components. The first is tether points. This is the attachment point on the tool itself. If a tool doesn't have a built-in tether point, one can be retrofitted. The second one is tool lanyards. Lanyards connect the tool to the tether point and come in different designs such as bungee, coiled, or retractable. And finally, number 3 is anchor points. This is where the lanyard is secured. For lighter tools, it can be a wristband, work belt, or harness worn by the worker. Heavier tools should be tethered to a strong, fixed point or structure. Let's begin by defining what dropped objects are. There are 3 main groups of potentially dropped or falling objects. The first one results from structural failures like wear and tear, where parts of equipment, or in our case, a turbine, are falling down. The second group would be anything dropped or falling down involved in lifting incidents. The third group is the one we're focusing on when talking about tool tethering. It involves objects dropped while using them, or objects falling down, because they're positioned in the wrong way, left behind in a place where they are not secured, or in a moving space like the hub and the spinner. These specific tools and objects can be anything from phones and radios, powered or manual hand tools, or even parts that you carry around in a place where you are working at heights, like nuts and bolts. In the context of safety related to dropped objects, Horizontal danger is another risk arising when objects that are dropped from a height do not fall straight down, but instead travel horizontally, posing risks to people and property not directly below the drop point. Objects can bounce, roll, or be deflected after hitting a surface, changing the trajectory and thereby increasing the area and angle of potential impact and risk of striking people or damaging property at a distance from the drop point. For example, a wrench dropped from a tower platform might hit the platform below, bounce and roll several meters away. A drop bolt might hit a beam and be deflected sideways, changing the trajectory of the falling bolt. Dropped objects can have a variety of different consequences when falling, ranging from hazardous observations to the most severe cases of medical treatment injuries, lost workday injuries, or even fatalities. Additionally, falling objects can cause damage to equipment or structures. In recent times during 2023 and 2024, the main type of incidents we've seen in our industry were dropped radios and mobile phones, mainly resulting from items not tethered correctly or not tethered at all. The second most often type of incidents has been tools left behind or forgotten. And finally, the third most frequent incidents involved smaller items falling out of workers' pockets, mainly during climbing or working at height. Let's take a look at some examples of the potential consequences and impact of dropped objects. If you drop a small bolt or nut weighing 250 grams from a height of 20 meters, it will have an impact of more than 6 kilos, with a risk of causing serious injury. If you drop an even bigger object or a tool like a hammer that weighs around 1 kilo, it will have an impact when falling from a height of 20 meters of 25 kilos, which could result in fatal injury. That's why it's so important to secure all parts and items and tether all tools when working at height so that objects won't drop to the ground or, in the worst case, hit someone on the way down. In the industry, as well as from the manufacturers of our equipment, it is recommended that everything weighing less than 2.5 kilos are allowed to be tethered to your body, while everything weighing more than 2.5 kilos should be tethered to something else, to a structure nearby or another suitable anchor point. When choosing what tools to bring for working at heights, consider which tools weigh above or below 2.5 kilos to make sure you also bring the correct lanyards. As mentioned in the introduction, there are 3 main categories of tool tethering equipment. The first one being tether points, the second one lanyards, and the third one is anchor points. Additionally, there is a miscellaneous category comprising of different kinds of items. There are different types of tether points. Some are attached to the tool with a special tethering tape to make sure that the tether point is thoroughly secured. Some tools, like screwdrivers, are narrow and pointy and can be tethered using a trap tether point, which you stick the pointy end of the tool through. Other tether points are rings and loops. If your tool has a hole of some kind that you can put a ring or a loop through, you can use that as a tether point as well. All these tether points have specific weight categories and limits, and each tether point has a marking to inform you about its specific weight limit. Lanyards come in many different shapes and with varying weight limits. They are divided into weight classes, defining how heavy the tools or equipment the specific lanyard should handle can be. Before you begin working, you should know the weight of the tools that you will be using. Knowing the weight of the individual tools, you can choose from the variety of different lanyards to pick the right one for the job. There are different variants of anchor points, allowing you to anchor tools either to your body or to the specific tool attachment points on your harness, or in some cases, with a belt solution when you are not wearing your harness. For heavier tools weighing more than 2.5 kilos, there are dedicated anchor points, allowing you to tether the tool by connecting it to the wind turbine structure. Some of the lanyards can actually also function as anchor points if they have a loop end, in which case it is important that the loop end is always used for the anchor point and not for the tool. Thank you for taking action on your own and your colleagues' safety. Now please watch the video instructions on how to use the different tool tethering products.